Lin Yi and Han King-chan had been in a romantic relationship for nearly 10 years since high school. One day, while cleaning laboratory equipment with her teacher Professor Wu, the tutor suddenly handed her two recommendation letters for overseas study. She told Lin Yi that Han King-chan had tried his best to get these letters for his childhood sweetheart Shenyun, even visiting all professors in the school one by one to secure her a spot abroad. Recognizing Han King-si-han's handwriting at a glance, Lin Yi felt a surge of sorrow but politely declined the tutor's comfort. Holding another recommendation letter reserved for herself, she made up her mind while Han King-chan chose to fulfill his childhood sweetheart's dream. She would head for the frontier of northwest China, devote herself to aerospace research, and chase her own sea of stars. On a weekend, Han King-chan picked up Shen Yun on the way and took Lin Yi to his home. Han's father was warm and enthusiastic, especially preparing Lin Yi's favorite prawns. In contrast, Han's mother completely ignored Lin Yi, focusing all her attention on Shen Yun. She kept telling the two to take care of each other abroad, suggesting they rent an apartment with a kitchen so Han King-chan could cook for Shen Yun. Shen Yun leaned affectionately on Han's mother's arm, saying she wished she could be her daughter. Han King-chan looked at their closeness with unprecedented tenderness, a look he had never shown to Lin Yi. At the dinner table, Han Yun raised her glass to thank Han King-chan for helping her get the overseas quota. Their glasses clinked across Lin Yi, making the scene awkward and piercing. As Han King-si-han's girlfriend and Shen Yin's classmate, Lin Yi was the last one to know their plan to go abroad together, only finding out through her tutor. Lin Yi excused herself to the bathroom to calm down. When she returned, she found Shen Yun sitting in her seat, discussing overseas plans closely with Han King-chan, casually gesturing for Lin Yi to sit at the far end of the table. Lin Yi sat down calmly. As the dining table was too long for her to reach the dishes easily, Han's father kindly pushed the prawns in front of her. When talking about academic performance, Lin Yi had a perfect grade point average, while Shen Yun pretended to be vulnerable, claiming she could never go abroad without Han King-si-han's help. Han King-chan comforted her dotingly, ignoring Lin Yi's feelings entirely. When Lin Yi mentioned Professor Wu had also asked if she wanted to study abroad, the table fell into an awkward silence. Han's father immediately supported her idea but was secretly stopped by Han's mother. Shen Yun looked at Han King-chan with teary eyes. He frowned with impatience, then continued peeling prawns for Shen Yun without a second thought. Lin Yi took a sip of orange juice, tasting only bitterness. Han's father kept hinting to Lin Yi about the ambiguous relationship between Han King-chan and Shen Yun, which she failed to understand at that moment. During the meal, Han King-chan discussed overseas arrangements with Shen Yun blatantly in front of Lin Yi, claiming Lin Yi was outstanding enough and did not need the opportunity, while Shen Yun deserved it far more. After dinner, Lin Yi wandered in the courtyard. Han King-chan caught up and hugged her from behind. Lin Yi asked why he had hidden from her about tutoring Shen Yun and collecting recommendation letters. He dismissed it as a trivial matter, saying he regarded Shen Yun as a younger sister and asked Lin Yi to yield to her. He promised to marry Lin Yi after graduation, letting her live a comfortable life as Mrs. Han at home. When Lin Yi refused to compromise, Han King-chan thought she was throwing a tantrum, insisting Shen Yun had no one to rely on and deserved more care. Lin Yi recalled an expensive necklace that should have been hers but was worn by Shen Yun. Seeing through their tangled bond, she broke free from his embrace to leave. Han King-chan forced her to stay overnight at his home. Late at night, Lin Yi heard ambiguous noises from Han King-si-han's room. Through the half-minus open door, she overheard Shen Yun worrying that Lin Yi would take her overseas spot, that their secret relationship would end once Han King-chan married Lin Yi after returning. Han King-chan comforted her gently, admitting he had pursued Lin Yi on a whim just to satisfy his sense of conquest. While his true love was Shen Yun, who had grown up with him, he promised to break up with Lin Yi and get engaged to Shen Yun after returning from abroad. Trembling in the corridor, Lin Yi finally understood Han's father's hints at dinner and saw through their long-standing illicit relationship. She suppressed her heartbreak, returned to the guest room, and cried silently, completely letting go of her feelings for Han King-chun. The next day on the way back to school, Shenyun occupied the front seat pretending to be carsick, chatting and laughing with Han King-chun all the way. Han King-chun once said he never talked while driving for safety. Yet he indulged Shenyun without hesitation. Back at the dormitory, Shenyun stopped Lin Yi, pretending to be tearful and humble. Offering to give up her quota to Lin Yi while secretly sowing discord, Lin Yi saw through her pretense and responded indifferently, no longer affected by her act. Back in her dorm, Lin Yi opened the exclusive invitation letter for the aerospace industry from her tutor. She decided to give way to Han King-chun and Shenyun, choosing to devote herself to aerospace scientific research in northwest China. In the following days, Han King-chun focused all his energy on tutoring Shen-Yin oral English and even asked Lin Yi to help prepare their overseas documents. Taking advantage of the leisure time, Lin Yi immersed herself in aerospace materials in the library and invited aerospace experts for 1-on-1 guidance with her tutor's help, fully preparing for the interview at the Northwest Aerospace Research Institute. Her tutor felt distressed yet proud of her choice to endure hardships in the Gobi Desert. A month later, hiding the truth from Han King-chun, Lin Yi left for northwest China, under the excuse of going home. The research institute had already favored her, and the so-called training was actually an experience of the harsh local life. The vast desolate scenery of the Northwest deeply shocked Lin Yi and strengthened her determination to stay. She passed the interview smoothly. The quiet Gobi was never for vanity, but for those with lofty ideals and a willing heart to dedicate themselves to the country. Returning to Suzhou a week later, Lin Yi told her parents about her new job in the aerospace base and her decision to break up with Han King-chun. Her parents respected her choice. Lin Yi planned to end their 10-year relationship peacefully on their anniversary. Han King-chun promised a grand surprise, and their friends guessed he was going to propose. On the anniversary night, Lin Yi waited patiently from evening till midnight with no news from Han King-chun. When fireworks bloomed by the lake, she received his apologetic call, making an excuse that Shenyun had a minor accident and he needed to take care of her. Laughter could be heard faintly on the phone. Lin Yi saw Shen-Yin's moments post leaning on Han King-si-hun's shoulder with fireworks as the background, writing that she was blessed to have him on this special day. Lin Yi cried silently while eating cold takeout, completely giving up on their relationship. The next day, Han King-chun apologized casually and told Lin Yi to see them off at the airport. Without replying, Lin Yi packed her luggage and flew to the Northwest alone. As the plane took off, the weightlessness seemed to leave 10 years of love behind, allowing her to embrace a new life and her own sea of stars. At the airport, Han King-chun waited anxiously for Lin Yi. Shenyun pretended to comfort him while spreading rumors that Lin Yi had fallen for someone else. Han King-chun was about to call Lin Yi's parents when the flight announcement interrupted him. After landing abroad, Han King-chun immediately called Lin Yi's parents. They told him plainly Lin Yi had broken up with him and joined a confidential aerospace institution with undisclosed whereabouts. He then contacted Professor Wu, who told him Lin Yi had entered closed aerospace work and implicitly blamed him for betraying Lin Yi for Shenyun. Shocked and devastated, Han King-chun recalled Lin Yi's devotion over 10 years. She studied late for him, strived to enter the same university and postgraduate school, and accommodated him in every way, while he took her deep love for granted and spoiled Shenyun blindly. He finally realized Lin Yi would never come back. Lin Yi completed a 3-month closed experiment in the Gobi Desert. After the mission, she received her phone flooded with hundreds of missed calls and messages from Han King-chun. She replied briefly to her relatives and tutors, then cleared all his messages. When Han King-chun managed to contact her by phone, Lin Yi broke up with him firmly. He begged her to resign and marry him immediately. Lin Yi told him the graceful gentleness of Jiangdan and the vast desolation of the Northwest were two entirely different worlds. She no longer loved him and there was no way back. and hung up the phone decisively. After the celebration banquet, Han King-chan traveled all the way to the northwest and waited at her workplace entrance. Haggard and exhausted, he begged for reconciliation, clinging to their 10-year relationship. Lin Yi showed him the screenshot of Shen Yin's moments, exposing their ambiguous relationship. Han King-chan apologized but still claimed he only treated Chen Yun as a younger sister. Lin Yi revealed she had overheard their private conversation that night. Knowing all his betrayal and indifference, she turned and left without looking back. Life was far from happy for Han King-chan abroad. After arriving, Shen Yun gradually distanced herself from him, indulging in parties and bad habits. With a weak academic foundation, she could not keep up with lectures and studies. No longer having Han King-chan to cover for her, Han King-chan was appreciated by a professor and became his research assistant. Shen Yin's plea for help only received cold, perfunctory replies. She went to his laboratory angrily but was refused entry without access permission. Eventually, the school cancelled her scholarship and initiated repatriation procedures for her poor performance and inappropriate lifestyle. Before leaving, she tried to seduce Han King-chan and provoke his relationship with Lin Yi. Han King-chan saw through her vanity and decadence, making it clear he would never fall for her again. Tired and regretful, he finally understood the cost of misjudging people and betraying sincerity. During the spring festival, Lin Yi delivered his speech as the new staff representative. After the event, Han King-chan came to see her in heavy snow with flowers. Apologizing sincerely, he admitted he had always thought Lin Yi was strong and needed no protection, only realizing too late that he was the one who relied on her all along. Lin Yi told him the blue rose also symbolized impossible love, completely ending their lingering bond. Lin Yi went home for the spring festival. Her parents were overjoyed to see her, feeling distressed by her roughened hands from working in the Gobi. They had already driven Han King-chan away when he pestered their home, knowing his betrayal and character. Lin Yi devoted herself to aerospace research and did not return home for 5 years, until the launch of her self-developed satellite God-seeking. At a class reunion, Lin Yi heard the follow-up news of Han King-chan and Shen Yun. After returning from abroad, Han King-chan failed to take over his family's business due to his unstable emotional life and was forced to marry a sensible woman first. Shen Yun was repatriated, mixed in wealthy social circles in Beijing, gave birth to a child for a rich second-generation heir, and was eventually paid off and sent abroad after the family kept the child and abandoned her. Meanwhile, China's first satellite God-seeking, tasked with exploring cosmic mysteries and the origin of humanity, was about to launch. Lin Yi bid farewell to her classmates and looked up at the night sky. 15 years had passed since she once wondered what they would become after a decade. She finally understood people will eventually bid farewell to the wrong lover, meet a better version of themselves, and march forward bravely toward their own boundless sea of stars. The tenderness of Suzhou could not hold her dream. The vast northwest was where her heart truly belonged.